Hey everybody! I've been promising that I would share all of the goodies that I bought on my trip to and from Virginia this past week. So I thought I would do an unboxing video and share those things with you, as well as some things that I've bought locally. That's not technically an unboxing, it was more like an unbagging. Basically, I've just got everything spread out on my dining room table. I'm going to talk about where I bought them and that kind of thing. So let me turn the camera around and I'll show you what I snagged. So as you can tell by the giant stack on my dining room table, I've done quite a bit of crafty shopping lately. This first stack is courtesy of my shopping trip to Scrappin' in the City in Knoxville. That's Sarah Preston's store. I love that she had the new Crepe Paper here and there line. These printed die cuts are so fabulous. I can't wait to use them. And I really like how you can see all of the different pieces on the back of the package. She also had these interesting, they kind of remind me of like paper dolls, but they're die cuts from Delusions by Ranger that I think the purpose is that you paint or mist or use your brush markers to decorate them. And I thought they were just so unusual. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do with them, but they spoke to me for some reason. They also had an actual magazine, and I have to be honest, I hardly even looked at it in the store because I was like, it's a magazine, I have to have it. I didn't even really check to see what price it was because it was coming home with me regardless. It's nice and thick. It's a big magazine. So I'm looking forward to reading it. I was so busy at my dad's when I visited that I have not taken a look at it yet. So let's turn some of these around. I picked up a few pieces of the Crafty Girl line. I loved this sticker sheet. I couldn't say no to it. I had to have that. Let's see, every time I move the paper, I make it worse instead of better. Sorry. I don't know if it's still going to be in the right order or not, so I just thought I would show you the yumminess. This is Jen Hadfield, and I love both sides of this paper. I thought this one was great. I liked the messages on this. And this is a piece from Kaiser Crafts. I probably won't use this B side. That's not really my style, but I like these different little cut apart cards that you could use as embellishments or titles or even to put on a card. Thought those would be really neat. Someone has been doing some crafty shopping lately, and so I thought I would share with you all some of the things that I have purchased. I've just got it all kind of stacked out here on my dining room table, and I thought I would talk about some of the things I purchased. On my way to Virginia last week, I stopped in Knoxville, and I went to Sarah Preston's store, Scrappin' in this city, and I had a field day touching all the pretty things and buying lots of them. I love this ephemera pack from Crepe Paper, their new Here and There line. And I think it's great that you can see the picture of all the different pieces on the back of the packaging. That helps me know if it's a set that I'll really use or not. I also saw these die cuts. They kind of remind me of paper dolls. They're from Delusions. And I just thought they were really interesting. And I guess you're supposed to either like paint or use a brush marker or I don't know, even colored pencil or watercolors to decorate them. But they spoke to me. There was just something about them, so I had to have them. I also was thrilled to see that there was an actual scrapbook magazine. I picked this one up at Sarah's store. I honestly didn't pay attention to how much it cost or even what was inside of it because it was a scrapbook magazine and it had to come home with me. It's a very thick book, so I'm excited to get to read that. I had thought originally that I'd be able to read that a little bit while I was visiting my dad, but I had no downtime, so I haven't managed to look at the book yet, even though I bought it on Saturday. The thing that I bought the most of course, was paper. And I'll just kind of go through and talk about the paper that I picked a little bit. This is a piece from Kaiser Crafts. And I probably wouldn't use this side. It's not really my style, unless I wanted to cut out one of those florals. The reason that I bought it is I thought that these cut apart pieces, these messages, were super cool, and that I could use those as embellishments or titles or even on cards, you know, hypothetically of course. But I thought they were really cool, and that needed to come home with me. This paper from Jen Hadfield I thought was super bright and sweet, and I love this big floral as well as the polka dot on the other side. Anytime I can find a piece of paper where I really love both patterns on each side, I think that's a win. I picked up this sticker sheet that went along with the Crafty Girl line, and I'm so excited to use it. I love everything about it, and there are things that I think would work on pages that aren't necessarily about crafting, as well as, you know, using it in the traditional sense. When I originally saw Chamel's box of crayons, when it was advertised from Creativation, I didn't think that it was really my style. I didn't think that I would necessarily want it because it seemed to go a little bit more with smaller children and that kind of thing. But I changed my mind when I got into Sarah's store. I loved this cut apart page. Again, for titles, for cards, for embellishment blocks on pages. I like this pink and red stripe on the back too. Plus, isn't that border, that, what do you call that? That branding strip, isn't that fabulous? Here is some pink paisley. I usually don't get to see pink paisley in person before I decide what I want to purchase. So I was super excited to actually put my hands on this and choose the pieces that I like the best. I think the patchwork on this, the back of this one, is fabulous. But I love this one that looks a little bit like different kinds of stitches so much. I picked up this quilt-like pattern. Thought it was great. I loved those 2x2 squares. And the little floral that's on the back is very sweet. Again, I'm a sucker for little cut apart pages. I can imagine using these in lots of different ways, in lots of different kinds of projects. And I like how this one is a series of different sizes and shapes. It's just not all rectangles or all squares, for example. Then there's your companion print on the back. These butterflies are pretty awesome. I don't know if you've been following Paige Evans' Instagram feed or not, but she's been doing some fabulous things with layered 3D butterflies. And so when I saw this, I was like, oh yeah, I need to buy that. The back side reminds me of like paint strips, so very cool. I don't know what I'll do with this particular pattern, but it's like I couldn't say no to those birds in the different shades of pink. And then I loved the ombre on the back. Again, this paper looks a lot like different kinds of stitching, and that fits so well with, you know, Paige Evans' style and what she does with all the stitching. It makes me feel like maybe I could do that just with paper and not have to do all the work. And then of course I love a lined piece of paper. Who doesn't? This is a piece of printed vellum, but it's a cut apart page as well. And I thought that it was really cool. Again, I thought there were different things that I could do with these, particularly titles and that sort of thing. You know, I struggle with what to do with titles, and so if I think I can use a cut apart page for that, that makes me really happy. Oops. I picked up some of Amy Tangerine's new line. I love this peacock and the camera and the cactus. Again, at first glance online, I had thought that these weren't going to be workable for me, But then when I saw them in person, I think they're a little more versatile than I had first imagined. Then of course a black and white raindrop kind of print on the back is fabulous. Somebody in our group, and I forget who that was, had pointed out that Kaiser Craft had this Australian themed line. And when I looked at it online, I didn't love it because of the muted colors and that kind of thing. But Sarah had some of these in her store, and they are absolutely gorgeous in person. So you have a map of Australia. I can see that as like the first page in an album. And then look at these botanicals. I mean, these botanicals are just to die for. I kind of want to just cut this up and put it in a frame. Thought that was gorgeous. I like both sides of it actually. And then I loved these little birds. Are these kookaburras maybe? I don't really know my Aussie animals. That wasn't something that we stressed a lot here in school in Kentucky. And then isn't that the back side of that very interesting? Kind of a wood or a marble sort of print. I liked that a lot. And then here's another map of Australia. So I picked up a few pieces in that line. I didn't get all of them, but those were just so delicious I didn't think I could say no. Here are some pieces from Crepe Paper Good Vibes. And again, I don't know really how I'm going to use llamas and cacti, but those houses were just too darling to not purchase. And then I loved the lines on the back. Thought that would be really great for journaling blocks. Some more Good Vibes. Some more little birdies. I don't like birds in real life, but I like them in artwork and on paper quite a bit. Love the polka dot. Can never have too many polka dots. Here are some more pieces from the Here and There collection. You know, as a travel buff, I couldn't say no to these. I can imagine using these in pretty much any travel album that I make. I like that gold on the back there. This was a great piece because it had, you know, different countries, different cities, different, you know, landmarks that are pretty common. Thought it was kind of fun. Reminded me like of those labels that you see on cigar boxes, or used to. And then I thought this was really cool. The train station or the airport, what do you call that? I guess the departure board. I do take some taxis, and I figured I might even be able to use this kind of paper when I documented something about Uber or Lyft. And then I loved this subway map on the back side. I don't know what subway map it is, but I guess that's something I could probably figure out somehow. I thought these envelopes and these telegram forms were pretty fabulous too. Loved all the colors. And then that reminded me of tile. So I liked that. Motor scooters, again. If I ever move to Europe, I think I'm gonna have to have a motor scooter. And I'm a sucker for any kind of printed words. The fact that these look like they're on subway tiles, you know, just makes me like them more. This seemed very mosaic to me. It reminded me of the roof of this church that I visited in Vienna. And so, of course, I had to get that. And then I thought this looked like tile work that you might find on a ceiling or floor. This is from Pink Fresh Studios, and I have purchased a few items from them that have shown up like at my local Tuesday morning and that kind of thing, but I hadn't ever seen their big pieces in person, and I just thought this botanical was fabulous. And then I like the really subtle pattern on the back side. Here are some more Chamel pieces. Again, I love the strips and the cut aparts. I think those will work for me. And a nice kind of subtle pattern that would work as a background there, even though it's a bright color. And then I thought these icons were so much fun. I'm willing to use the Crafty Girl and the box of crayons items together even. So I thought that might be kind of fun. And then this polka dot on the back is so awesome. I love this rainbow polka dot. I picked up a few more pieces of Maggie Holmes Flourish because I couldn't remember if I had bought them, and I decided I couldn't live with myself if I didn't have them. So just to be on the safe side, I bought my favorites, potentially for the second time. Now, it's always possible that, you know, I did buy them and I've just forgotten because I was kind of in a rush before I left to go on my trip. But you know, if I have 2 pieces of some fabulous Maggie Holmes papers, I'm totally okay with that. And again, I'm loving both sides on these. And I think I said recently in a show that I couldn't imagine what I would use lemon paper for, and yet I keep buying it. So I'm gonna have to go back to some suggestions that y'all gave me in the show comments for that and get busy. I love these Jen Hadfield cut apart sheets. I have purchased a few of them before, like at maybe Joann's had them or maybe Michael's, but they were the thin sheets that are sold in those big box stores. And so I was thrilled to get this kind of cut apart sheet for titles and cards and stuff in their heavier paper. Then I loved the back side of that too. Here's another Jen Hadfield piece. The back side of it. I'm really liking this kind of teal green. Like it's more green than blue, but I'm really liking that this year. This is from the line Patio Party. Again, more lemons because apparently I needed to eat my words. But look at that yellow stripe. How awesome is that? I love a yellow stripe. More from Patio Party. I could see these especially on cards or gifts. Just a kind of a plain grid background. Loved this botanical because it's a little bit subtle even though the colors are rich. Again, more from Patio Party. But look at that navy polka dot. Navy polka dots make my heart beat fast. Cocktails in pretty little glasses. You know I couldn't say no to that. And again, more of the yellow, but in a checkerboard pattern. This reminds me of a dress that my mother had from Avon in the late 70s, early 80s. So I had to pick that up. The back, it's a little bright, but I love it. I love pink and navy together. Isn't that particular botanical delicious? Oh, love it. And then more of the gold geometric. I really liked that. Here's some more Pink Fresh. Thought that was so cool that it would be great to do as embellishments on a page. But I love this diagonal stripe back here too. More Pink Fresh, all these hearts. I had seen somebody use these on Instagram, and when I saw them in person, I was like, oh, I've got to have that. The green really, really speaks to me. I love that green. So those are all the things that I bought from Sarah's store when I stopped in Knoxville on my way to visit my dad in Virginia. I'll tell you about my next stop in just a minute. On the way home from Virginia, I stopped in a couple of other scrapbook stores. The first one was in Greensboro, North Carolina, and it was called Betty's Creative Retreat. I went crazy in there because they had more stamp and die sets than I have ever seen anywhere, like in person. And y'all know how much I use those, right? So it's like I couldn't say no. I spent way more than I planned because they were just speaking to me. So here's the first set that I bought. This is my favorite things. And it has flamingos and stuff on them. But I loved the sentiments too. Wishing you a flamazing birthday, and you are fabulous, darling, or you're an amazing friend. Have a fabulous day. Hello, gorgeous. I could just see using those, I mean, hypothetically at least, in so many different situations. And then I went ahead and I purchased the accompanying dynamics that went with them because I wanted to experiment with that a little bit. You did get a percentage off for buying them together. I want to say it was like 10 or 15%, which I didn't know going in. I obviously was going to buy them regardless, but I was happy to hear that I got a little bit of a deal after choosing them both. I also love this set because it sort of goes with the flamingo too. We flamingo so well together. What makes you different makes you beautiful. Tickled pink. So I could see kind of using these three sets sort of interchangeably in order to create some really cool cards or layouts or other kinds of projects. And then I'm not sure why this particular set spoke to me so much. I loved the graphic nature of most of the sentiments. And then I loved the little clusters of stars. I just thought that that was really cool. And I've heard some really great things about Concord and Ninth as, you know, a stamp company. So I'm excited to play with that. I snagged this interesting stencil of faces. Thought that could be really cool, you know, because I work in my art journal so much. But, you know, it can happen. It can happen. And then you'll remember I got a package of these at Sarah Preston's store in Knoxville. Well, I talked to myself out of buying these at Sarah's store. And then when I ran into them again at Betty's place, I was like, well, I have to have them. You know, I just have to do that. So then I ended up buying some paper because, again, I couldn't remember if I had bought all of these pieces, and I began to panic that I might not have and then would feel sick later. So several pieces from Maggie Holmes Flourish line. I love these butterflies. Maybe not the bugs, but definitely the butterflies. I thought this floral was really pretty. I loved the smaller print on the back. Can't go wrong with black and white cameras. All of these are from Maggie Holmes Flourish design. More butterflies. Loving this blue and this green combination right now. And lined paper. I think this is a great botanical. Again with the pinks. And I loved this. I thought this was just gorgeous. I was like, if I haven't bought that, A, I'm crazy, and B, it would be wrong to leave this store not knowing for sure. With the yellow on the back. Loved the green hearts, the teal hearts with the pink and red. Then I liked this. This reminds me of some prints that my mom had like maybe in the early 80s. This is kind of retro to me. But look how gorgeous these black and white, black and cream roses are. Again, kind of a geometric print with the cherry blossoms. The cherry blossoms are blooming here locally right now, so it would be cool if I could get a great picture of one. This is a piece of Bow Bunny. Of course, I like the wood grain, but I bought it because I thought that these cacti were really nice. I don't know what I'll do with it, but I liked it. And then here's a Webster's Pages. I love the geometric, but then more lemons. So again, I'm going to think about some lemon pages. More Webster's Pages. Love this check and the wood grain. A cut apart page for Webster's Pages. And then a lighter print. These have gotten all turned around in my sack. I liked this kind of, it sort of felt like a kind of a take on toile, which is very French country. And I think this looks more kind of all-American. And then I thought that green diagonal stripe was interesting. I picked up some photo play. Gotta love a tassel. Then I thought those feathers were pretty cool as well. This reminds me of, I don't know, like Morocco maybe, but I also thought it might be good for pictures. You know, my daughter's going to Egypt this summer, and I thought this might be really pretty. Love that kind of teal in the back. I don't really do Project Life, but I love a cut apart page. And then that orange is fabulous. About 10 miles away from Betty's place in Greensboro was a place called Ink, Paint, and Stamp. And it was much more mixed media like, but they had a fabulous 80% off section. So I picked up these Delusion stamps with these faces. I think those are pretty cool. I think my price ended up being like $4. They were 80% off. And I picked up this one. Notice that these are the same in some ways as the little paper doll pieces that I bought, but I liked them well enough to go ahead and get them anyway. I got this interesting like ephemera pack that was 50 cents. It has a map in it and, you know, like a Starbucks sleeve and some general stuff. I don't know what I'll do with that, but I thought it was cool. And then this Diane Wakely stamp set, these faces. I thought those were interesting. Here's it's a Julie Nutting dollhouse. Then it has these chipboard pieces and stuff. I don't know what I'll do with that. I thought it was kind of cool. And then she had some, like, I had never seen this paper before. Sorry. It's from Graphic 45. But I kind of liked it. It sort of reminded me maybe of the 20s and the 30s. Reminded me of some art that I saw in Prague, Sheila in particular. So I got a couple of pieces of the same. And then I just liked these cut apart pieces. I thought they were really interesting. I don't know what I'll do with them. But, you know, all of that stuff together, I thought this was great. All of that stuff together was like less than 20 bucks. You know, all those stamps and everything. So I felt okay about about not knowing what I would do with it and still buying it. I also stopped at an AC Moore. We don't really have those in my area. I think the closest one to me is maybe in Evansville, Indiana. But I bought a sketchbook with 100 sheets in it because I thought at that point that I might do another sketch a day. I've since decided to do a different 100-day project, but it was on sale and I'm glad I bought it, you know. And then this was on clearance, this really fabulous journal. I don't know if you can tell, but it's a faux leather cover, and then it, you know, it buckles in, and the pages are lined, which I thought was really nice. And it's actually, you can take the book out and put in a new one. And so I may start doing a little more journaling, maybe in the evenings before I go to bed or something. I just really liked that. It was on sale for like $3. I mean, so I couldn't pass it up. I bought some needles for embroidery, you know. And then I got this cute bag. I think it's a reproduction of an impressionist print. Maybe, I don't know, is that a Matisse? I lose track. Maybe it'll tell me on the tag. No, it doesn't tell me on the tag. But it's, I know it's a French impressionist. I'm just not sure which one. Thought it was kind of cool. It might be good to take with me when I travel this summer for shopping. Before I left, I received an order that I had placed with Elle's Studio, and so I thought I'd share that with you guys too. They had a clearance sale, and so I picked this up, Party Time. That was the name of my family's liquor store part of the time I was growing up, and so I thought it would be cool to maybe tell that story with that acrylic title. I also picked up some different labels of theirs. This is hard to do one-handed. I meant to have these open, sorry. But I picked up some of their labels because they were such a good price, and I think that those are perfect for putting little details, you know, or for layering printed die cuts and different kinds of embellishments and that kind of thing. So I just got kind of a variety of those. I know you're supposed to say Ellie's, but it just hurts me. I have to say L's, so don't anybody like send me hate mail over that. I'm really excited about this Stanley alphabet stamp. I got the one that was the outline. I thought it was super cool and it was a great price. So I'm looking forward to playing with that. You know, I'm going to stamp more, guys. I really think I am with all these stamps I've been buying. And then I got sort of a hodgepodge of things. I just went through their sales section and grabbed the things that looked interesting to me. So these are some vellum labels. Oh, I haven't done this yet. Oh, and I didn't miss out on it. That's cool. Well, maybe I won a prize. And then for a couple little thank yous. But look at these. Aren't these sweet? I thought these were awesome. Labels. And then bigger labels. Labels without the heart. So yeah, I was pretty excited to get these and sort of bummed that I had to go ahead and go on my trip and didn't get to play with them. But maybe I'll get a chance to play with them this weekend. Yesterday, I went to Podcast in Nashville and we stopped by a Tuesday morning when we went out to lunch, and I grabbed these stamps. I don't understand it totally, but it said Crepe Paper on it, so there was my sign that I needed it. But it's like a progressive stamp, and so these 4 different stamps work together to create the image that you see there in the middle. So I'm excited to try that. And I bought some red line tape. That's what I call it, red line tape. And then I stopped by the Hobby Lobby in Hendersonville because, you know, they have different things than mine. I found this great big thing of gold paper clips in different sizes for a good price. And I thought it might be fun to make some embellishments with those, maybe some planner embellishments or traveler's notebook embellishments. I also got these stencils, which I thought were really cool. It's, you know, 4 stencils for one price, and it looks like you could probably use them together or separately. So I think that's neat. They had this Simple Stories I Am paper pad, which was brand new. They actually had 3 paper pads, but I was already going to use my coupon on something, and so I was like, I'm only letting myself buy one. So maybe my Hobby Lobby will have the others soon. This was super cute. Tracy picked this up, and I was like, I am going to need one of those. But they're kind of vintage looking images. Gosh. And I just thought they were so sweet. I liked them. Change your outfit, change your life. Best friends. I mean, I just think that's really neat. I can imagine telling stories maybe about my grandparents or even about my mom or dad's childhood and using some of these. So I was excited about that. I bought my favorite adhesive. It's not fancy, but that's my favorite adhesive that I buy at Hobby Lobby, and I used my coupon on that. Then I got these little craft sacks, not because I need sacks, but because I thought they were so flippin' adorable. Here you can see the different patterns. And I was like, I could totally use those, like maybe in a traveler's notebook or, you know, in my planner. I picked up some doilies because, you know, doilies, love them. And a new black ink pad for all this stamping I'm going to be doing. And last but not least, I got some deco foil because I have these rolls of foil and I need some stuff to stick them to, apparently. So you can see my crazy collection of stuff that I've bought over the last couple of weeks. It's a little bit out of control, but I guess that means that I just need to go in my studio and actually make some stuff, preferably with some stamps, so that I feel justified buying all these goodies. Hope you enjoyed my little unboxing share so that you could see all the fun things that I bought. Talk to you soon.